heathens.
Hello, I'm Ubba Emerson. Joined with me, my co-host, Raven Tierson. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I know you're going to like that intro. I hope the viewers do too. That's the voice I do sometimes to joke around.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hey, just want to say welcome back. We kind of slipped on the episode last week, but, a lot of stuff's going on, so, just welcome back to the fucking show.
About time we fucking said that again. So yeah, we got a few things to talk about today. A few of them about the ruins, about our trip to Counts, Tennessee. So first I want to start out with about the runes. And in the stories, the old poem from the Havmál, as you guys probably already know, if you've read it, of course. Odin, to gain knowledge of the runes, in a sort of ritual suicide, hung himself from Yggdrasil and pierced himself with a spear for 9 days and 9 nights. And then also sacrificed his eye at Mimir's well for wisdom.
That story sounds really familiar, by the way.
It does?
Yeah. Hanging himself from a tree, piercing himself with a spear, Oh, never mind. It's a Christian thing. That story was first, though, by the way.
Yeah. But I will say this, though. So, three, not the only three, but like the three main sets of runes that we know, more widely known today, are Elder Futhark, and then Younger Futhark and Anglo-Saxon runes. There's a few more. I'm not going to list them off all right now, but Anglo-Saxon runes were used up until the Norman conquest in 1066, or so it was thought. But we do have a bunch of knowledge on them. And also Elder Futhark, as most people actually, without even knowing it, probably have it tattooed on them,
Right.
Because that was used well before the Viking Age. And then Younger Futhark was used during the Viking Age, which I know we have some knowledge on them, but definitely not nearly as much as Anglo-Saxon and Elder Futhark. So, when people, I guess you could say, get tattoos of them without really knowing, just kind of be mindful of that.
Right, we stated this before in previous episodes, just don't get tattoos of religious things and things that people use in magical rituals and stuff without knowing what you're getting, because you can set yourself up for something awful. I've seen it happen before. But one question I have is, when Odin sacrificed himself, would you say it was the Elder Futhark runes that he learned, or is that kind of lost to history? What kind of rune?
I mean, I would say, and this is just a theory of mine, I think the knowledge that he gained of the runes was probably the original, like the very first set of runes. I don't necessarily know what they would be called, but maybe Proto-Germanic, maybe. Yeah. But I would say, though, like we were talking about this the other day, how people perceive gods differently, from each culture. Right. But in reality, not saying they are the same, but they possibly could be.
Yeah.
And I think that can also go the same thing with runes. Now, again, that's just a theory. They're obviously different areas, so the runes are technically still different.
Yeah.
But it just depends. I would think that they were probably the first.
Right. Well, one of the topics that I was very interested in is the Armanen runes. I've started reading quite a bit about those just out of curiosity, and it turns out they were invented in 1902 by a man named Guido von List. I guess is his name, Guido von List.
Always love that name, Guido.
Yeah, but the names associated with postulated Armanen, like Aryan priest kings, and I'm not really sure. It's kind of like a pseudo. There's like pseudo runes used in modern mysticism and neo-paganism, and if that works for you, or I know you don't use them, but if that works for any of the listeners, I mean that's fine if you use them for your own personal practice. To each their own. But there's no basis in academic basis in history for the use of Armanen runes. They were kind of just invented by a blind man in 1902. Sounds awful Wiccan, but
Yeah, and there's a couple, like, you'll see that too. Like, I've seen Uthark runes, which I actually don't. I definitely see, I definitely relate to a lot of the, some of the stuff that Uthark runes, or that rune set is. However, both Armanen and Uthark, I guess I'll just put Uthark in there too, they were, their theories and whatnot, and basis of that was well after the Christianization. Uthark, I'm pretty sure, came in the 1500s by a Swedish mysticist. I'll have to grab the book some other time, but anyways, still well after the Christianization of Europe in general and Scandinavia in particular. So I don't know. I'm definitely maybe something to learn about, but would I ever use them in practice? Probably not.
Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend it. No knowledge is bad knowledge. Like I'm obviously not a Christian. I've read the Bible several times, different versions of the Bible. I have one that's called the African Bible. It's got like 88 books instead of the canonical 66, and it's vastly different. And that was distributed by the Catholic Church. No knowledge is bad knowledge. You learn and you teach yourself as much as you can, but just realize that a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the things that you're learning, there's not really an academic basis for them necessarily. Like Armanen runes, they're a lot of people. One of the runes looks a lot like a swastika, and I've seen so many things where people are saying that this is used, and obviously it's associated with Aryan priest kings. So a lot of people are associating it with racism, and I don't believe that symbols in themselves can be racist, especially if that symbol has been appropriated from another culture.
Well, yeah, we know the swastika itself is like thousands of years old.
Yeah, I've seen Buddhists used it.
Buddhists, Hindus.
Yeah.
And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Hindus, even to this day, some of them in India, because I've seen pictures, I've seen them use it in like ceremonies. Yeah. You don't see it often, obviously, but I've seen it still in like maybe temples or someone's house or something like that.
And a lot of people don't put together the fact that Adolf Hitler was a Catholic.
Yeah, I know.
And he was staunchly against paganism.
Yeah, there's a quote by him. It was and I'm not sure if this is the exact quote, but it was basically, he said, the reestablishment of the worship of Voltan, German for Odin, would be foolish.
Yeah.
He's calling us fools.
Right, but it's clear to me that his end goal was to appropriate certain symbols used in paganism to demonize those people. And it's worked thus far, so really people that call certain runes and stuff racist are playing right into Adolf Hitler's hands.
Yeah.
And I think if more people understood that, then they would back off a little bit, because, he misappropriated our symbols.
Well, yeah,
and also for that purpose.
To the so-called heathens, who do, like, appropriate themselves with neo-Nazism, like, that's just ridiculous. Like, not just the fact that it's Nazism, which is obviously horrible, but at the same time, and you call yourself a pagan, you worship Odin, you have a one-way ticket to Valhalla, that kind of bullshit. Like,
probably
to me, it's all backwards to me, and it's both, like you said, it was both sides, like neo-Nazis trying to claim paganism, and then also other people trying to say, oh, all of the runes are racist and stuff.
Right.
And you see it every day, which is kind of funny, because I'm not even sure this is going to be a topic, but I guess we're on the conversation.
Yeah, let's flow with it, man.
One thing I often see, and I'm not saying that they necessarily think this, but I get stared at a lot for my tattoos, especially if I'm wearing a tank top and shorts and stuff, where most of them are showing. In a little bit we'll get to when we went to Pickwick, because I could tell people were staring at me there when we went swimming. Yeah. But it just baffles me, man, that a lot of people, there's just so much knowledge, I feel like, that will eventually be lost to most, and they'll just automatically associate their shit with Nazism or satanic stuff, which I don't really mind the satanic stuff, because I could give a shit less. Because to me, that satanic stuff doesn't bother me.
Well, satanic and Luciferianism, all that stuff, it's really just a denomination of Christianity. Those particular mythologies were developed by Christians. No other religion believes in Lucifer. No other religion believes in Satan. It's just it's an offshoot of Christianity. It's just they believe that Satan is the higher power and not the Sky Daddy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, not just that. Most of them are there's denominations too. They're atheists.
Well, yeah,
but it's just more of like a rebellion against the church.
The Satanic Church is actually, I think, more of an atheist organization anyway, and it's more satirical. Tongue-tied today. Tongue-tied today.
Yeah, no, I remember I got asked a question by someone. Won't say their name, of course, but they asked me if my Vegvasir on my hand. They asked me if I was devil horns. Or like pitchforks. Right. And I wanted to laugh so hard, but I didn't, and I corrected him, in a very respectful way, because, generally speaking, people just aren't gonna know what. Do
right.
I agree that they should just assume what these symbols are? No, I think you should definitely be open-minded if you're genuinely curious about something. Ask someone.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen? What if they get mad at you for asking a question? Well, that's their problem.
Yeah. And, since we're on the topic of symbols and stuff like runes, the Vegvasir didn't even come from the Viking Age.
Yeah, no, it did not.
I'm wearing it right now. You've got it tattooed on your skin. The Vegvasir was actually used by Christians.
Yeah.
But Vegvasir is Icelandic Galdr, which is magic. It's a Galderstaffer, which is, it's a magical stave created, in Iceland. When people call it the Viking compass, obviously that's incorrect. It has nothing to do with the Viking Age, but it is like a wayfinder. It's the magical purpose of the Vegvasir is to, help find one's way and in stormy times, and you can use that as metaphor or literal. If you're having a rough time and you feel like you're lost, maybe the Vegvasir can help you find your way.
Yeah.
Or if you're literally lost in a storm, maybe the Vegvasir can help you find your way. It's the intent of the magic, which is why what I was talking about with the Armanen runes. Obviously, if you use them with the intent of doing good, then the intent of what you're trying to do is what's going to manifest. However, just absolutely do not think that the Armanen runes had anything to do with history. Anything to do with the Vikings or the Proto-Germanic people or anything like that. It's not. So.
Yeah. No, and I agree. It's funny, too, you mentioned the metaphorical or literal, using symbols like that. I actually, I think I remember I messaged you about it, because that was the time I had one of my former coworkers come and seek shelter with us, because, we were basically... literally trying to outrun a tornado.
You literally did outrun a tornado.
Because we were up in Tennessee near Dyersburg, and we had a call, and at the same time, when we were on our way there, I was driving the work van, and our windows were down, and all of a sudden, we hear the sirens, and that was a first for me, because I'd never been, in a place where they have tornado fucking sirens.
Yeah,
so
it's almost like an air raid siren.
Yeah, I wasn't scared. I was just startled though, because I was like, what the fuck? Okay, this is happening right now. Because the winds were picking up and the sky was turning different colors. When I saw the sky turn green, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it was beautiful. But my coworker at the time was like, yeah, dude, we gotta get out of here. So when we went, we just saw an empty church parking lot. We were able to pull over at, switch drivers, because he knows how to drive, in storms like this. Because it wasn't just the wind picking up. I mean, the wind did. The door slammed me into the van, when I was trying to get in.
Yeah.
And, the winds were that fucking strong. And then all of a sudden, the skies went from just being cloudy to fucking golf ball sized raindrops just coming down. And finally, after 20 minutes of just, hauling ass, finally get back. Had him seek shelter and whatnot, and here at the house, and then we opened the door a few times, and it was crazy to see what was going on outside. The neighbor's trampoline, blocked the driveway because it flew out.
Yeah, he did not have that anchored to a tree or anything. So just a little bit of a comedic story for the listeners. This is the coworker where during this particular storm, I came out of my room and I had no idea he was here. You were in the restroom.
Yeah.
And I did not know who this man was, and he was in my house. So I was about to sacrifice him to Thor when you came out of the bathroom and put a quick stop to that. But yeah, it was almost the end for him.
Yeah, because when we were getting back into Corinth, I just didn't think at the time to message him because I wasn't sure. Because right at the time he was dropping me off in my truck, I said, "Hey, if you need to seek shelter, until the storm passes, then by all means just follow me up to the house." And the storm, it caught up to us eventually because we made a stop because I think one of us had to use the bathroom or something. But yeah, the storm started to catch up because lightning, whatever pissed Thor off that day, it was coming down, and we saw it, and it was heading towards the house. So I was like, yeah, just follow me up. So we drove. It's probably good 15-minute drive from town. So we got up here and just hung out for a couple hours. Yeah. And I didn't you say a tornado did actually touch down?
Yeah, right on the highway, just right over, right over there.
And I remember a few houses in Corinth actually got fucking obliterated. Sadly,
yeah, it was a rough.
There was and like I said, guys, I've never seen this before because I'm from Washington. I'm from up north. There ain't no any tornadoes up there.
Yeah.
And seeing the trees uprooted like that, and these weren't just like small trees, which is ironic because a lot of the small trees were actually fine. It was the big trees that came down, and obliterated the houses.
Right.
Yeah. Luckily, it was only 2, and I'm pretty sure the people were okay. But yeah, and wasn't there a partial flood, like not a flood, but like going down underneath that bridge?
Oh yeah, that every bad storm, that bridge floods out completely, and people always try to drive through it. Yeah. And it can get like 6 feet deep, and I don't understand why people decide they want to drive through that. But yeah, that reminds me. Your mom asked me if when tornado season ends around here, because she was pulling her hair out, she was so worried about you, and I said, well, technically in December. And tornado and hurricane season kind of bleed into each other around here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just we tend to get really rough storms most of the year.
Yeah, and honestly, I fucking love it. Yeah, I think it's a beauty to see. Like, you obviously stay as safe as possible. If you need to seek shelter, then seek shelter. But
right.
If we usually, if something's coming, usually we'll stand outside for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just kind of seeing that lightning.
Really dark weather and thunderstorms and clouds and rain. That's where my comfort zone is. I love that. I'm not going to say, like, I know I joke around and I say I hate the sun all the time. Like, I hate the sun. I mean, I don't have the best relationship with the sun. I do understand I need it. And I don't like the heat all that much. That weather for me, I'm doing the little Italian hand wave. For those that can't see it. It's Primo, yeah. That's where it is for me. That's where I'm the most happy.
Yeah, well, no, in the sky, so the other day, too, the sky, remember when I woke you up because I was like, hey, the sky's turning different colors, and I haven't really seen that before. I mean, I saw it turn green. I know that's tornado warning, but this one was like pink, and I've never seen that here. I've seen it in Arizona and, and even in Washington, but not here, because I was also told, too, if the sky starts to turn orange, hey, like, you need to get, like, in shelter. So I wasn't sure if that shit was going to change. And then the other day, because it started to rain here a lot more, it was like we had some rain, and then also when the skies cleared up and stuff, which was so weird, it was we in the sun showers.
Yeah, like we had sun showers.
Yeah, sun showers, and then all of a sudden that cleared up, and it was like there was almost maybe 2 clouds in the sky, but then all of a sudden you hear fucking thunder, and it's bright, sunny, like 90 degrees and sunny, and just a big ass clash of thunder, and it was so awesome.
I always attribute those to Thor. Like, there's no other real explanation for me. Like, where is it coming from?
Just so gorgeous, so beautiful. I do not know how you could possibly not like that.
Weather for me, especially that weather, like I said, is that's my happy place. But the weather is very temperamental around here. They call this the subtropics. So, I mean, you're going to expect a lot of weather from a lot of different kind of climates to just meet here and have a party.
Yeah, it is true, and I can say that from like quite literal experience. And as a newcomer here, when people say something about it, they're not exaggerating. They're not over exaggerating. It's literally like No, this is true. Like when it comes wintertime, it fucking freezes and it's dry.
Yeah.
It's dry as fuck because you'll see all the leaves and everything die. Like when I first got here, that's exactly what I saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we don't get a lot of snow usually. Mostly it's like sheets of ice on the road.
But it's consistent though.
Yeah.
Like you get snow every year, and that's what I've also been told from other locals is that it's not a lot, but there is snow every year, and it is. When I first got here, when I arrived in Memphis, what was it, like 20 degrees? I think maybe 26. Yeah. I think it was a high.
Yeah.
That night.
Yeah, it was chilly. That's
yeah.
sure.
When I woke up and when I went outside, I was like, and I was in shorts, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Your dad and your brothers woke us up.
Yeah, I remember that. Moving on though, we what about that trip to Pickwick?
Yeah, this could also contribute to people staring at you for runes, but also not just that, but on a positive note, he took me to Counce, Tennessee, to the Pickwick Dam, and man, was that gorgeous. And I know Pickwick around here, from what I've heard from a lot of the locals, it's a popular swimming spot, fishing place. People, go boating and stuff, and it was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the history around there, McNairy County.
Old Buford Pusser.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sheriff Buford Pusser. If anyone's seen the most recent movie with The Rock called Walking Tall, there was a movie before that. That movie is loosely based off the first movie, which is based off of Sheriff Buford Pusser from McNairy County, Tennessee. And you can still see some of the historic spots where that took place. Basically, he was the sheriff that tried to take down the state line mob, or state line mafia, as some people call it, which still exists today. But yeah, it's a very interesting story. If anyone has the chance to watch the original Walking Tall, I recommend it. You watched it your first day here.
Yeah, first or second.
Yeah,
and it was pretty cool because it's funny because since I've been here in the South, I've actually enjoyed watching like older movies like that where the color on the TV screen there's no CGI. There's it's just straight like filming, and you really see like an old world, almost. Right. And here in the South, that's what I see here is an old world, and I love it. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, we drove through Counce, which when I lived in Tennessee with an ex-girlfriend, I was in Counce all the time, and that was, I would say, over 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't changed one bit, not even the slightest. And when we drove through the other day, and I was absolutely amazed. But we ate at the Redwood Hut, which they had great food, and
you can definitely tell that was
people
small.
staring at you
real
hard.
Yeah, you can definitely tell there was that small town mentality because we just got back from swimming and stuff, and I'm wearing a tank top still, I'm wearing my hat and shorts and stuff, and you could see all my tattoos, and they were definitely staring me down.
Yeah, and
also at Pickwick at the dam when we were swimming. As soon as I took my tank top off and I just jumped in the water, they were definitely staring.
Yeah, and it was different for me. People stare at me because when I take my shirt off in the sun, I become the living embodiment of Boulder. I glow like the moon almost, like sunlight bouncing off of me. I'd have to tan for 12 hours to be white. Okay, so I mean, if anyone's interested in what I look like, that's it. So but we tell you about our outings and stuff like that to let you all know that when we talk about on the podcast that you have to go outside, we don't just sit at a computer recording and telling you need to go outside and enjoy nature. We live that. It's what we do. We live out in nature, first of all. We go outside and it's like we're in the jungle. Yeah,
and it's I mean, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, huge bugs everywhere, and
they're so big.
And I know some people are like, oh, ew, bugs, something like that. But honestly, first off, I could give a shit less too. I think it's absolutely beautiful. That's just like a part of nature,
The only bugs that we have issues with, are like the brown recluse spiders. Like, we don't necessarily like doing this, but those are kind of kill on sight. Because they're so dangerous. When they're in the house, you just have to do it. I mean, one bite from them and you can die.
Yeah, and also ticks. Not really a fan of those, obviously.
Yeah, not at all.
So, but my grandma did make me a spray mixed with like essential oils and whatnot, which has kept them off.
Yeah,
anytime.
It works really well. Works very
And
well.
mind you, too, like the backyard, like we've said before, like you go down in the ravine, and because everything is so, I hate to use the term, overgrown, but at the same time, it's just grown, for us, because I don't like chopping shit down, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
But
it's all natural.
Yeah, when I walk through it, bugs will land on me and stuff, but at the same time, as soon as they get like that first taste, they're like, yeah, nope, not for me.
Yeah, they get on and off.
Oh, tell them about that, it was like 2 a.m, you're going out to feed the dog and the Úlfsvaettr.
Oh yeah, it was about the size of the palm of my hand. Which, if anyone, I do have kind of small hands, but I mean, still, it was a big spider, and it had babies all over it. Now, I've experienced that one other time, but if you were to step on a spider like that, they would spread in the thousands.
Yeah.
The babies were all over, and it was just sitting right by thing's bowl.
Yeah, I put my he took a picture, which it was kind of hard to take a really good picture. We probably won't post that one, but I put my finger right by it because I wanted to see how big it really was, because it was 2 a.m. I was tired and whatnot.
I actually forgot we took a picture of it.
But
since we mentioned it, I'll probably post it.
But it was crazy though, because I've never seen that in person. I've seen that in pictures.
Right.
I've also seen little egg sacs and whatnot from spiders, but that was definitely a beautiful thing to see. And she was just chilling. She did not care for us, especially because we were leaving her alone. We weren't a threat to her. The dog wasn't a threat to her. He didn't try to mess with her or anything.
Right.
And I think that's another thing too. When people go out in nature, I think one thing people can, I guess, start doing more. And I'm not saying that you have to do this, but I think it's just a respect thing. It's just respect the wildlife around you. Most of the time, animals or bugs, insects. Obviously, there's a certain few who don't abide by this, but most of them don't care for you. They literally don't. Like, if you leave them alone, they're gonna leave you alone. Like, it's different if you're talking about like ticks or mosquitoes who are obviously trying to latch onto you.
Or a red wasp.
Yeah, like
they're
that.
Mean.
Yeah, they're fucking huge too.
Yeah,
man.
they are.
I didn't know that until I got down here, and I had one of the biggest ones from a nest when I was out working at a Dollar General or something, and trying to fix the plumbing. The biggest one happened to chase my ass.
Yeah, and what about, you've experienced the horseflies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are huge too.
Yeah, I woke up one day and I completely forgot when I was checking the oil the day before I made that trip up to Washington. One must have got in, and I just shut it in the truck, and all of a sudden I opened it up, my door the next morning for work, and I was like,
had a vendetta.
I heard buzzing, and I was like, are you fucking shitting me? And I saw him on the light, and I'm like, damn, he's huge.
They are gargantuan. But we're going to take a small pause here for a word from one of our sponsors. The Southern Heathens podcast is proudly sponsored by Wood of Weird. Wood of Weird is an Etsy shop owned by TikTok and Instagram user Witches Brew. With crafts like wood burns and spell jars, as well as custom orders, you can find exactly what you need for all of your witchy and pagan needs. From one-of-a-kind spell jars to any wood burn design, Wood of Weird is always up to the task. Wood of Weird is always up and running and ships orders promptly. Any custom order requests can be messaged directly to Witches Brew via social media or through her email. Links can be found in her Etsy shop. Go to etsy.com/shop/woodofweird to find out more. That's etsy.com/shop/WOODOVWYRD. And welcome back to the show. So yeah, when we talk about going out into nature, we mean it. And this episode also, about the runes and how we're talking about the Armanen runes not being academic, not being historical. What we're really trying to say to you is hit the books. Read as much as you can about what you're trying to learn. If you're a Norse or Germanic pagan, read the Eddas, read the Havamal. Actually dive deep into the literature, and and learn what you can, as much as you can. Because this isn't, where you go, and I know we don't try to bash people on this podcast, but we're not just going into a building and letting a man in a suit up on a stage tell us what to think. We're learning ourselves, and we have to put in the work. We have to put in the legwork. We got to walk the path. If you think that just getting out there and calling yourself a Norse pagan and watching a couple of shows on the Roku online or whatever,
yeah.
and all of a sudden you end every sentence in skull, and you're going to Valhalla because you have some Scandinavian blood. Learn what you're talking about, because you sound like an idiot if you do that. Don't do that. Learn. Get out there and learn. Get out there in nature and become one with the gods again, because the time's coming, man.
Yeah, and I, for one, like reading wise, it was a bit different when I was in Washington, because I would just read when I got off work a lot, especially when my brother and my stepdad and whatnot, they'd be on the computers and they'd be out in the living room and having to work, so I couldn't necessarily watch TV. But one thing I would do, I would just go outside in the backyard and just read for like an hour. And now I've kind of switched up a little bit, but so I just read at work, like on my breaks, especially if I'm working overtime or something. Hell yeah, I'm gonna fucking read.
You can kind of think of that as a sacrifice, giving your time to the education. Like we said earlier with Odin. Odin self-sacrificed. He hanged himself to a tree. He stabbed himself with his spear. If what little bit we can do for knowledge pales in comparison to what he did to give us the ability to learn that, So actually dive into the material, and a good source is Dr. Jackson Crawford. He does amazing stuff, and you can go, and I'm gonna plug Iraker. He has an amazing blog on his website where he shares some amazing information. That's Úlfsvaettr.craftsman.com. He has a blog, and you can contact him there and ask him anything.
I'd say mostly by email, though, too.
Yeah, he has a contact button there.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Contact him on the website. Don't do it on social media. He actually made a post about that earlier.
Yeah.
He'd prefer to be contacted through his website.
Yeah,
Iraker, he's a great source for information, and an amazing craftsman, obviously. I haven't seen anyone top his skill.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. But
I don't know how much money I've spent there, but I don't regret a single cent. That's all I can say.
We'll provide links to all his stuff and links to everything else we're talking about. And if you like what we're doing here on the show, we're available on all the major podcasting platforms. We're available on YouTube, so give us a subscribe and hit that notification bell so anytime we post any new content. And you do all those things, and we'll get back with you as soon as we can and when we feel like it. So y'all holla.